Hello all, my name is Vennela. It means moonlight. It doesn't mean vanilla ice cream. It's not very easy living with my name, trust me. I am a law student at NALSAR University of Law. This is on the weekdays. On the weekends, I run a startup that trains young law aspirants in the country. It's been 3 years since I started teaching, and after I started up, I focused more on entrepreneurship and management. Mine has been anything but a conventional path, and for our society, which has only now begun to embrace the values of independent thinking and starting up, it requires a lot of courage and conviction to actually follow your dreams, especially those which are not really considered to be safe. So, if there's one thing that I've learned in my journey, it is the importance or the value of not being afraid. Courage has various manifestations, and I believe that we often ignore exactly how much our lives are changed when we stop being afraid and take decisions when opportunities do present themselves to us. And I'm here to share a few of such instances from my life. So when I was 17, I decided to become a lawyer. So for all of those Hyderabadi people out there, you'll know exactly that, for our city which is obsessed with the engineering and medicine rat race, law is not really considered to be a very popular career option. So, of course, I was a victim of the herd following myself when I enrolled myself in one of those IIT coaching institutes in the city. But after a while, it was very clear to me that engineering was one thing that I really did not want to do. So, no offense to any of the engineers out there, but it was just not for me, right? So, somewhere out there at that time, I found law. And although I didn't have anyone to guide me, I researched as extensively as I could on whatever sources that I could find, and increasingly it became clear that law was where I was meant to be. So part one of finding my calling in life, that was successful. But in India there's a part two, right? That of convincing your parents, and then your family, and then your extended family, and then of course your neighbors, and of course everyone else who knows you suddenly take an interest in what you're going to do in life. And then everyone becomes a career counseling expert, and then they tell you that you're wrong if you don't go for engineering or medicine. I myself have had a lot of bad experiences of people telling me that, they took it upon themselves to tell me that I was making a mistake. So all of this actually contributed to me realizing that I didn't have to convince anyone, because I was the one who was going to pursue my career. I was the one who was going to study law, and I was the one who was going to be responsible for the consequences of my decisions. So of course it was not an easy phase, but once I realized this, there was no turning back. Now because I took my own decision, there was certainly pressure on me to be successful. I studied hard, I wrote the NAST law entrances, I made it to NALSAR University of Law, one of the best law schools of the country, and one of the toughest to get into. And I can tell you life has never been the same since. So from this experience, one thing that I've realized was, do not be afraid to be confident, especially when you know that you're not meant to be doing something. Most choices actually stem from eliminations, and I allowed mine to guide me to find the true calling in my life. I found my love for teaching at a young age. Being the eldest kid in the family, my brother and my cousins used to look up to me for academic guidance. And in my first year of law school, because I knew that getting into law school was very hard for me and everything, I decided to take up a job as a trainer for law aspirants in the city. And I thought that through my experience, I could be a voice of reassurance and guidance that many people like me might need. And I could motivate other people like me to explore a career in law. So I took up a job as a trainer in my first year of law school. And I started studying at law school on the weekdays, and then I started teaching on the weekends, and this has been my routine for the last 3 years. Of course, it wasn't very easy in the first few days, because of course parents were not very confident about trusting their children with someone so young. But today, over 400 students, 3 years of experience, and one startup later, I get calls from parents and students on a daily basis asking for guidance. So one thing that I learned from my experience through this was that do not be afraid to pause in your path and share your knowledge with those people who might need a voice of reassurance and guidance. I've built some immensely fruitful connections in the last 3 years, and I can tell you that I learned much more through the process of teaching than what I could have given to those people who actually came to me. So after a year of teaching, I actually took the plunge to starting up. Many friends who saw me teaching expressed their own desire of teaching, and then I created a startup, the idea of which was to create a platform where senior students could offer support to juniors, offer them exam help, help them in career counseling, and most of all, and most importantly, to eliminate student-teacher hierarchies, and be there for juniors as friends who've been there and who've done that. So that was the idea. We started off as a classroom institute, and today we have a pan-India presence because we offer coaching services online. We recently expanded our team to contain various verticals, and we have many people, dedicated people from all corners of the country today. So one thing, and of course, it was extremely hard, this particular journey, because we study in one of the toughest college courses in the country, and managing that and business is, of course, it's not easy at all. The second thing is we have to commute about 70 kilometers at least every week to go and teach in the classroom. And finally, of course, it is not very easy to gain the trust of parents when they know that the entire institution is being run by students. It took a lot of hard work and perseverance to finally gain their trust. So one thing I've learned through this experience is do not be afraid to create your own opportunities, even if the journey looks extremely hard, because your passion for something will drive you forward. The reason why we go forward every day is because of the sheer amount of passion that we have, and we allow it to fuel our future. So there has never been a better time to be a young person in this country. Startups like Alma Mater, Oyo Rooms, etc., innumerable others have been started by young people. They've found resounding success. And it is very heartening to see that the world is slowly acknowledging the limitless potential of youngsters in India. So before I leave, there are two things that I'd like to say. One, for the older generation out there, I urge you to trust us with our decisions, because we know that we are responsible for the consequences of our actions. Trust us and encourage us to fight for what we believe in. For the youngsters, my young friends out here, I encourage you to take life into your own hands. Do not be afraid to do what you love. If you have a dream, do not let anyone tell you what to do with it, because it is yours and yours alone to follow. If you encounter failure, don't blame anyone, but do fight until you're successful. Raise your voice when it looks like your opinion doesn't matter, because your voice is the only thing that you should be listening to. Thank you.